What's going on, everybody? Marcus Havoc back again with a quick Demon Hunter preview video, and also to comment on the fact that the Demon Hunter is not a two-button class. In fact, it's a much more complex class than it gets credit for, but it also gives you the freedom to make it a much more simpler class, depending upon the fight or depending upon your playstyle. The way they've been tuning it the last few Legion beta builds, it's been showing that that they're tuning it so that every single build is viable in almost every single scenario. The first build that I'm going to show you is called the Prepared Momentum build. Now there's ways you can kind of modify this build to make it your own, but this is the way that I've been playing it lately and I've really been enjoying it. First talent I chose is Fell Mastery. Increases the damage of your Fell Mastery by 50% and grants 25 Fury when Fell Rush hits at least one target. This is important because it will interact well with Prepared and Momentum. Prepared reduces your cooldown of Vengeful Retreat by 10 seconds and you get some extra Fury. While Momentum, if you use Fell Rush or Vengeful Retreat, it increases your overall damage by 20% for 4 seconds. I'll give you a quick demonstration on why this is important. So your Vengeful Retreat is a 15-second cooldown now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit this boss. I'm going to Vengeful Retreat out and I'm going to Fell Rush back in. And now I'm going to go ahead and I-beam with the damage buff. It does some big dick damage there. That build's important. I also took Fellblade just because it gives me a little bit more fury and it also gives me a little bit more freedom to charge at another target. So if I'm hitting this target, I can tab over here and go Fellblade and hit this target. So this is really, really good if you've got ads up, but it also generates a ton of fury. Netherwalk is pretty much mandatory for raiding. It's just a really, really good personal cooldown, and it's also really good for things like if you need to soak something for the entire raid. Soul Rending, it's a good talent if there's a lot of damage going out and it's a long fight, or Metamorphosis will be active for a very, very long time, but as you can see, Metamorphosis has a 4-minute cooldown. Desperate Instincts is kind of like second wind for warriors. Once again, probably useful in PvP, not very useful in PvE. And of course we talked about Momentum. Demon Reborn is another important talent because it reduces all of your, or not reduces, it resets all your cooldowns when you go into Metamorphosis. So what you can do is, I'll be blasting this target and I'll hit my hardest hitting ability, which is I-beam. I'll Fell Rush back in, Vengeful, Fell Rush, and we'll go right back into it. And our I-beam is now back off cooldown, doing 400k a pop. That's incredible. That is just incredible. It's a really, really good, short, bursty thing to do. Then of course I went Demonic, which causes your I-beam to enter demon form for 5 seconds after it's done dealing damage. This is important because when you hit I-beam, it turns your Chaos Strike into Annihilation, it turns your Blade Dance into Death Sweep, and it increases your dodge chance by 100% for a quick second. Really, really important for survivability and also to hit multiple ads. So I really, really like this build. Another build that I've been playing around with is if you're in a say you're in a multi-target fight or a council fight, like Il'gynoth, like the video I did previously. I can go Chaos Cleave, I can go Demonic Appetite, or I can even keep Prepared if I want to, but then I can go to Bloodlet. Bloodlet is really awesome because your Throw Glaive hits 3 targets, and it also causes them to bleed, which is really, really good for ad damage. A lot of people do like to dot up ads and cleave them down, and this is another way to do that. This build right here alone is really, really good for ads. You just get rid of Fellblade, you get rid of Fell Mastery, so you lose the ability to charge a lot, but you still have Fell Rush, and you still get those damage buffs from both Prepared and Momentum. Another build that I think is going to be useful in certain encounters is when you go Demon Blades instead of Prepared and Momentum. This is really, really good, I think, for single target fights like Ursoc. So we can either keep Bloodlet. If it's a single target, we'll probably go Fellblade, or or we can go First Blood too. This is another good build, and we can go Nemesis. Now, the reason why we do this is Demon Blades removes Demon's Bite, so you're no longer spamming it. But it kind of passively does Demon's Bite without you spamming it. And you go First Blood because now Blade Dance becomes part of your rotation here, which is it does well because it does a big first hit to that first target. And then you go Nemesis here. Nemesis is an extra DPS cooldown, 15% for 1 minute. Come on, who doesn't want to do that? Really, really important for single target. You can also, you don't really need Throw Glaive or Unleashed Power. I don't really see that working for single target. I think Demon Reborn's the best talent. But if you wanted to with this build, you can get rid of Demonic and go Chaos Blades, which is another really big heavy-hitting target. Heavy-hitting single target ability that is another big cooldown. So overall, I think that with all of these different builds, I've just listed off 3 different builds. We can even do another build here. Let's play around here. We can do Fell Mastery, Prepared, and Bloodlet, and Momentum. That's another build. I just did 3 builds, and I'm even having a hard time keeping track of all of it because there's just so many out there. So this notion that the Demon Hunter is a 1-button, 2-button class is just not true. And the way you can play around with your cooldowns is also awesome. You can have Nemesis and Chaos Blades and have 2 big cooldowns to play around with, or you can not worry about it and just focus on the little things you're doing. See, this build right here, it's a spam happy build, and I'm a spammy player, so doing all these fun things here. Vengeful Retreat. This is a fun way to play. Vengeful Retreating, Fell Rushing back in, doing big dick damage, and letting off the I-beam. So this notion that the Demon Hunter is a 2-button class, it's just not true. It's just not true. I think you're going to have a lot of fun with this build, figuring it out. If Blizzard hadn't decided to change the way that you change talents, it would be even easier, because every single fight you can keep switching in and out without having to buy those inscription tomes. But overall, I have a lot of faith that the Demon Hunter is going to be a spec where you're going to have to experiment and really learn that one spec, as opposed to it having 2 DPS specs and learning both of those. I think that classes like the Unholy Death Knight and the Frost Death Knight as DPS, you've got 2 melee, same thing with Fury and Arms, there's 2 different ones, whereas the Demon Hunter, you've got 1 spec, but a lot to learn with it. So that's it for today. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.